So, have you been considering working with a CRM consultant and you're kind of like, why would I spend all this money on somebody just to give me an idea? And you're right. Why? But let's talk about that in this video. Hey, welcome back to Business Fundamentals. I'm the Business Cowgirl. Here we talk about your business's technical setup with my 8 years of experience as a business consultant, CRM designer, and ClickFunnels enthusiast. I'm here to help your business run more smoothly and effectively. Remember, your technology will do exactly what you tell it to, even if it's not the best idea. So let's avoid that and dive into today's topic. So some of you might be thinking, do I really need a CRM consultant? Do I really need a CRM manager? Do I really need a CRM architect? And fair questions, because the reality is that how expensive technology consultants is always surprising to people. Even businesses that have money, it's always surprising how expensive those are. But I have a question for you. If I told you by giving me $5,000 that you will get $100,000 in return, would you do it? The answer, of course, is yes. But the hard part is seeing that $100,000. That's why I'm going to tell you this story today, because this is essentially why I'm so passionate about the fact that your CRM design, your business's technical infrastructure, is the best kept secret to your business being efficient and effective, or also just creating another job for yourself. A CRM manager should be guiding. They shouldn't have to be putting out fires all the time. And I would say that the best CRM consultants are going to be the ones that tell you your CRM is a living, breathing entity and it needs to be cared like an infant. Because even when you're asleep, your CRM isn't. And I think that's the biggest piece that everybody misses when it comes to CRM design is, what is your CRM doing when you're not there? I just wanted to tell you the story of why I am so passionate about CRM design. And it's through this client I had where I was updating their invoicing process. And the invoicing process they had was horrible, horrendous. Everybody hated it. Like, it was the worst thing they did every month, and they had to do it month to month. To start off with, it took an average from 5 to 8 hours for every person on their team to perform and execute this task. And also, it was a task that was required of these folks. However, it wasn't helping the business move forward at all. It actually costs the business money for these team members to spend all this time doing an invoicing process, because you don't make money counting money. And so this company has this issue where their invoicing process is absolutely horrendous. And it takes everybody 5 to 8 hours a month, which means ultimately, even if we're using the short end of the stick, it's taking anywhere from 60 to 96 hours a year. That means that almost 100 hours of one of these team members' years was dedicated just to performing the invoicing process. Now, long story short, this isn't me telling you how to update your invoicing process, but after we updated their invoicing process, then it went from 5 to 8 hours a month down to 1 to 3 hours a month, which means that it went from the range of 60 to 96 hours per year to 12 to 36 hours a year. So basically the difference is about 60 hours. The question becomes, what workflow in your business could you change and potentially get 60 hours per team member back in your year? And how would that make a difference to your business? And that answers the first question we posed, which is, why would you hire a CRM designer? That brings me to, if someone is able on a micro and a macro level to look at your business technical operations, and they're able to rethink the way that you actually perform the tasks you're doing. This doesn't mean you change the task. It means you change the mechanism. It means you change the technical infrastructure behind how you do these things. That could be the difference between wasting 100 hours on a process that actually doesn't make your business any money, or only wasting about 40 hours a year on a process that still doesn't make your business any money, but it is required for the business to do. So think about it. It's about, we're rounding, but it's about 60 hours per person, which this was a 5-person team, mind you. So that's 300 hours back in the business on this team alone. If your business right now has a process that is terrible and makes everybody on your team be like, we have to do this again, that's where to start. That's the first red flag that you have to rework that process, rethink it through. And then the question becomes, if you could get not even 60, let's say, so you have a 5-person team and say even 20, say it's returning 20 hours a year times a 5-person team, meaning that you get 100 hours back in a year. What is that worth to you? What is that worth to your business? So when people ask, is a CRM designer worth it? This is a specific example where the company was getting back time, which by definition means they're making more money because they're able to utilize that time in a different area. So everybody who was wasting 100 hours a year could now only waste 40 hours a year and spend the other 60 generating more income for the business. So what is that worth? Think about the worst thing you have to do in your business. Does that mean it goes away? No. But if the time it takes you could be cut in half, what would all of that extra time enable you and the rest of your team members to do? And furthermore, what is that worth to you? What is that worth to your business? Whatever the answer is to that question is how valuable a CRM designer is to your business. Now, of course, not all I always said this as a bartender, but not all bartenders are created equal. We're all given the same ingredients, the same cup, and the same yada, yada, yada. So why do the drinks come out differently? And it has to be the person shaking the cup. So the reality is that not all CRM designers are created equal, and you really have to make sure that you find the right one, because a bad plan executed very well will still have bad results. So I can only speak from my own personal experience. That invoicing process was one that I revamped. That was the results I got from working through one workflow for that business. So the first step, though, is you figuring out for your business, what is your invoicing process? What is your one workflow that if you cut it in half, it would be a game changer for your business? And that micro level of thought is what you first go to a CRM designer for, and you say, hey, what do you think about this? And that's the best way for you to gauge who's actually going to be able to help you. Now, I will also say, CRM designers say very scary things, because when you come to a CRM designer, most of the time it's hard for, one of the reasons that my job is so challenging is because technology lives in the unknown, in space. Like it lives it lives outside of the physical world. Meaning if I was architecting a building, eventually there would be a building with doors and windows and walls, and you'd see that building and you would know what came from those plans. And the thing with technology is, for instance, that invoicing process, they felt the relief when it was over. However, the step-by-step process to get to that relief was hard for them to imagine because they only knew the bad way. They only knew the hard way. And so you have to be able to step back and think about potential in the sense of what could it look like? Does it have to be this painful? And the answer is ultimately, no, it doesn't have to be that painful. There's 100 million ways that it could be better, but you have to find the right person to bounce ideas off of so that you can make sure you find the right answer, because the fastest solution is not always the best solution, but the best solution will get you there the fastest. So if you're interested in figuring out for yourself, DIY, what gaps you have in your current CRM setup, go ahead and take my free online gap assessment. And the link is going to be, somewhere around this video. But that's going to be where you start so that you can figure out what is your business's invoicing process that needs to be updated, it needs to be changed, and allow yourself just that little bit of room to think, what if this process was not that painful? What if it was something that could actually be easier and you could, like I said, This company got 60 hours back per person per year. That is amazing, right? That is mind-blowing to the point where you're actually sitting there going, is that possible for me? So say it's 30 hours, cut it in half. Don't even go to the point where you're like, that's not possible. Even a third. What would you do with that extra time? How would you be able to grow your business if you were able to get that time back? So I hope this has helped you. Go ahead and take the free quiz so that you can get your personal online gap assessment. And if you want to work together with a CRM designer, you know where to find me. I'll see you on the next one.